So good morning, everybody. So it is my great honor to chair this feature in the Science Station 3. So today is I'm going to talk about. So these sessions, was mainly focusing on the gaining of the stability, the substance stability of the local production of the biopharmaceutical by training workforces in LMIC. And I'd like to share several slides before we invite some speaker and talk about the local training. So this, the graph clearly shows that, and during the pandemic, and so vaccination and getting onto the herd immunity, so mainly suffered because of vaccine shortages, and particularly the severe negative impact usually on middle-income country, particularly lower and even lower. So the most of the country which suffer from the COVID pandemic, and basically in the African regions. So these countries and no longer depends on so-called development the countries to beneficiary actions. So the countries in the lower and also the middle-income country and also WHO, and try to promote the local production and to to prepare the next pandemic. So the one of the action is CEPI's the promise, so-called 100 days mission. So the graph clearly shows that if you have the proper vaccine and during the pandemic, so it may save more than 8 million people. So if you have the right vaccine, which is supplied for the countries which in need, may save more than 8 million. So that number is really a lot. So we're gonna talk about the several the mission or journey to real made in LMIC vaccines. We talk about the humans. We talk about technology, and also manufacturing infrastructures. So today, we're going to talk about the training people, training people for manufacturing. So I invite, three great, the personnel, so who are actually involved in, Korea's, the commitment to promote, local production of the vaccine. And first is, Dr. Jae Lee, the former, Director General of Ministry of Health and Welfare, and right now, so she is, Director General in GTHB Supporting Foundation. And the second one, the Hun Sang Lee, from the Right Foundation, so he is the strategic, the officer for the foundation. So mainly support, the financial, in the trading as well. The last one is the Alice Lee, and from International Vaccine Institute. So far, in the Korean government actually supported more than thousands of the trainees from LMIC. I think more than 90% of the training actually done by the IBI. So she's going to share her experience regarding on the training of the workforces from the LMIC. So I'd like to introduce the first speaker, Dr. Jae Lee, and we're going to talk about GTHB roadmap from the current milestone to the future plans. Please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jae Lee, Director General of the GTHB Support Foundation. It's a great honor to meet you all at GEEF 2026, a highly meaningful venue for discussing sustainable development. Today, I would like to speak about our journey and feature under the theme GTHB roadmap from current milestone to future plan. Before we get to the main point, let's look back at the painful reality we faced. As you can see in the chart on the screen, During the COVID-19 pandemic, advanced the middle-income countries quickly achieved a vaccination rate of over 80%. However, in the situation in low and middle-income countries was devastating. Only a tiny fraction of their population received vaccine, leading to sub-health inequality directly tied to human lives. The root cause of the inequality was not simply a lack of vaccine supply, but a lack of manufacturing capacity, the inability to produce vaccine independently. To overcome this, the World Health Organization designated the Republic of Korea a biomanufacturing powerhouse as the world's only global training hub for biomanufacturing, GTHB. This is the very background of how our foundation was born. The core role of the GTHB Support Foundation are divided into 4 main areas. First, providing systematic education and training in connection with each global biocampus. Second, working closely with the Ministry of Health and Welfare and related organizations to advance biomanufacturing systems and regulation. Third, cooperating with various stakeholders, including related institutions, the financial sector, and government to achieve our common goals of ending vaccine inequality. First, carrying out multi-phased global health project in solidarity with the Ministry of Health and Welfare and various international organizations. To accomplish this massive mission, we have built a tight-knit cooperation network. Centered around the Global Bio Campus, GBC main campus, we are working closely with our long-time partner, the International Vaccine Institute, IVI. Furthermore, we operate a world-class bioeducation ecosystem together with 5 excellent network campuses distributed nationwide. 송도 K-나이버드, 오송 K-바이오헬스, 시흥 SNU, 화순 JBF, and 안동 K-바이오 CMO. Our education aims for systematic, step-by-step learning tailored to the trainees' level and the need of the field. We provide a comprehensive, customized education track, starting with basic skills, which are the foundation of biomanufacturing. Moving through core competence courses applicable to actual processes, and culminating in advanced courses to foster top-tier experts who will lead the industries in their home countries. As a result of this effort, GTHB successfully put its hands-on training on track throughout 2024 and 2025, especially starting with the K-나이버드 mRNA process training and the Andong Animal Cell Culture Proof of Concept Centers USP hands-on training. We are proposed 33 global hands-on trainees. In 2025, we expanded this scope to include Osong's hands-on training for antibody manufacturing and Jeonnam's hands-on training for GMP in biomanufacturing, successfully graduating nearly double the number of trainees compared to the previous year. Moving forward, we plan to significantly increase the proportion of advanced hands-on training that can be immediately applied in the field. Beyond the quantitative growth, we will focus on nurturing the high-quality talent that the field truly needs. This year, in particular, will be a year of meaningful leaps forward. The GBC main campus will newly launch its own microbe-based plasmid construction and therapeutic protein production hands-on training. In addition, education programs linked with the Asian Development Bank, ADB, and the Light Foundation, as well as K-9 specialized program, will be newly conducted. Furthermore, the detailed information on these officials from IVI and the Light Foundation will give detailed presentations in the following session. As shown in the chart on the screen, our ultimate goal through these various programs go beyond the short-term workforce training. It's to build a sustainable global biohealth ecosystem that can be operated independently anywhere in the world. So that no country is left behind in the face of another future pandemic, GTHB will not stop its firm steps toward global health security and equity. Furthermore, we also have programs available for domestic trainees to participate in, so we kindly ask for your interest. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. So we're going to save some time, and so we're going to have the Q&A session after the presentation. So I'd like to invite Dr. Hun-Sang Lee from Right Foundation, and so you're going to share about the funding opportunity and also Right Foundation's strategy to promote the training of the workforce, and particularly in the vaccine manufacturing. Please.
Thank you very much for your kind introductions. Before I begin my presentations, actually I had been emphasizing this aspect about how important it is for Korea to contribute in global training of biomanufacturing personnel in low and middle income countries because of the importance of lately global COVID-19 pandemics and the importance of preparing to next pandemic. But also there are so many of the vaccine programs that takes place, vaccinations that take place in LMICs, and many of the countries are now trying to realize the situation that they want to really produce the vaccine in their countries. So traditionally, when it comes to official development assistance or support for LMICs from Korea, we usually think about building hospitals or training health personnel who can provide direct health service. But lately, training vaccine manufacturing personnel or providing capacity to locally manufacture vaccine they can use seems to be a great priority in global public health policy and for LMICs. So I think is this kind of vaccine manufacturing capacity building support that comes from Korea is one of the most important global health related contribution that Korea can make. So with that, I would like to share what Right Foundation is doing on that regards. So to begin with, Right Foundation was created in 2018 with funding contribution from Korean Ministry of Health and GEEF foundations, and with 7 Korean biopharmaceutical companies' voluntary contributions. And the money goes through IVI, then comes to us. So it is kind of Korea's global ODA contribution as well. It can be counted as that. But one of the most important aspects of the Right Foundation is first, to support development of vaccine diagnostics tool and therapeutics, the treatment drugs. And lately, we also support development of AI-based tool that can diagnose disease as well. But the important aspect is to leverage Korea's, for one aspect, to leverage Korea's official development assistance money, not to give the vaccine or diagnostic tools, but to develop next generation's diagnostics, vaccines, and therapeutics, and lately AI tools that can really be the game changers to solve health problem in low and middle income countries. But going beyond that, we were created with a very specific mission to leverage the very capacity that is in Korea, in Korea's healthcare sector, in R&D and biopharmaceutical industries capacity, so that this capacity can contribute and benefit LMIC's healthcare technology, health challenges issues, while it can be also opportunities for Korean biopharmaceutical industries. In order to achieve that, we have 3 distinct programs. By and large, the biggest program is Product Development Awards. I will go into detail a little bit later, but we fund basically development of those vaccines, diagnostic tools, or therapeutics, the next generation game changer that can really solve the problem in LMICs. But as part of that effort, we also added 2 additional activities. One is access enabling research. We also can fund economic evaluation so that, or operation research, so that already developed tool can really be introduced to the countries, adopted to the policies, and scaled up in country and globally as well. But the last piece is we also fund technology transfer, because our mission is have all these tools to be available and accessible in LMICs. If those tools can be manufactured in those countries and be even better accessible, more accessible and readily available in those countries, that is actually what we are trying to achieve. That's why we are having this technology transfer funding program as well. Besides that, we also fund evidence generation awards. If there is any kind of like new intervention, like AI-based like tuberculosis screening, or AI-based diagnostic tools, and if there is any kind of like lack of evidence, we can also support generation of those kind of evidence, so that this kind of like new health technology innovation can see a light. Last piece is actually we also support the training programs. As we have, as R&D and development of a tool is one thing, the another aspect is supporting the technology transfer. The last piece of the activity is indeed training of the LMIC personnel, so that they can actually manufacture those tools in their own countries. That's why actually we are involved in training programs. Again, we fund vaccine development, therapeutics, biologics development, and diagnostics development. Lately, we are including AI diagnostic tools as well. And besides access enabling research, as I have said, the technology transfer activities is part of the bigger pictures, which is indeed linked with the training activities. And why we are doing all these activities? Because we emphasize designing with global access in mind first, and then we emphasize the exchange of knowledge with LMICs, and we feel that integrating into the public health system is important. And lastly, we emphasize the market access of any of the tools that we develop to be readily available in LMICs. And in that regards, engaging with the key stakeholders in low and middle income countries is very important. Indeed, on the right of this photo is actually the photo of one of the projects that are supported by Right Foundations. So on the left is CEO of the vaccine company Ubiologics in Korea, and on the right is CEO of the BioVac vaccine companies in South Africa. We are supporting technology transfer of the meningitis vaccines to be locally manufactured in South Africa, so that this vaccine, which will be produced in South Africa, will be used to tackle the meningitis problem in the so-called meningitis belt in upper part of the Africa. And in our last 8 years of existence, we had supported with about $102 million amount of the grants for 79 projects, largely in the product development, mostly in the vaccine and diagnostics, but some in therapeutics, and slowly we are expanding in the area of digital health and AI as well. But some smaller portion of our funding is going into training program. And these are some of the diseases that we are funding. So basically, as long as it is disease that are prevalent in LMICs, or as long as it is disease of pandemic potential, we can support. And these are some of the actual projects that are currently ongoing. So we currently have 12 grants project in vaccines, 6 in therapeutics, and one of the current project is actually vaccine technology transfer from Korea to South Africa. And this is a diagnostic grant portfolio of 9 grants, including some of the AI-based malaria diagnostic tools as well. And we had funded evidence generation awards for digital health and AI-based tools in 7 different countries with 7 different projects, including AI-based tuberculosis screening as well. And these are some of the high-priority diseases, even though we are not limited to this, but some of the high-priority diseases that we had been having interest are some of those diseases: cholera, dengue, malaria, meningitis, and tuberculosis, and others. So mostly diseases that are prevalent in LMICs. And as for our achievements, one of the first WHO product has come out in diagnostics, in G6PD malaria diagnostics. And second was AI-powered malaria diagnostic tool. And third was actually typhoid conjugate vaccines, which had a Korea MFDS clearance, regulatory approval, which is actually waiting for the WHO pre-qualifications. And these are some of the tools that had been going through the licensures. But what I want to emphasize is actually this. So in 2024, in our partnership with the GTH, as part of the Korea's global training hub biomanufacturing initiative, we also joined these training efforts, and we had partnered with Kane Albert to train 40 people from LMICs, about 20 from Africa, and about 20 of them were from Asia. And they spent about 5 weeks in Korea to get hands-on training, but including 3 weeks of online training, so it was 8 weeks programs. But very hands-on training for more advanced vaccine manufacturing training. But this year, we actually had a application call, which is closed by now. And we are in the final stage of selecting another 40 people to be trained. But this time, as it was just mentioned by Dr. Lee, Dr. Jaran Lee, it was now this year we are partnering between Wright Foundation and Asian Development Bank. So Wright Foundation and Asian Development Banks are sharing the cost. So for Asian Development Bank's member countries, ADB will be financing 20 people. For the rest of the world, Wright Foundation will be financing 20 people. And then, but again, the training will be undertaken by Kane Ibert. But this time, we are officially joining hands with GTHB supporting foundations, so that it will be quite of a collaborative efforts of all these different entities and organizations working together. And we are trying to expand our basis for global partnerships with many of the international organizations, but partners in LMICs as well. But we are hoping that more of the this kind of training can happen with many of the LMIC people can has vaccine manufacturing personnel participating in our efforts. But at the same time, what we are hoping is we do not want this training to stop at just a training. We are one of the things that we really hope is for any of the people who gets this training really gets involved in some kind of a technology transfer support, which can be funded by Wright Foundations. And then for some of those people or some of the country can be funded by global funding partners like Asian Development Banks or World Bank, or maybe KOICA or COFI or Korea's EDCF to establish vaccine manufacturing facility, and so that this kind of like training can be really translated into actual local vaccine manufacturing for those countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So those vaccines can be put into use potentially for next pandemic or any of the diseases that are currently in those countries for national immunization program. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. So, actually, the first presentation and the second presentation, you may see that the Korea committed a lot of the commitment actually to solve some kind of vaccine inequality, and particularly GTHB Supporting Foundation, which is organized by the agreement between the WHO and Korean government. And also Wright Foundation. So I really appreciate Dr. Lee about, giving some kind of training over. So the main mission is developing or supporting some development of so-called DTV, so which is diagnostics and therapeutic material, and also the vaccine. So I'd like to introduce the Alice Lee and from International Vaccine Institute. And you may know about the International Vaccine Institute, so which is an independent organization and directly under United Nations, and which is deal with a lot of vaccine development technology and to support the people who are totally ignorant. So it has a lot of the success and also a lot of contribution to solve kind of the problem, and particularly in LMIC. And as I mentioned that, the International Vaccine Institute and produce, I think, more than 90% of training outcome since in 2022. So she's gonna share her experience and the supporting in LMIC by training of the people. Okay, Alice, please.
Thank you. So I would like to start from what IVI has done on the GTHB. So it was launched in 2022, and this is fifth year this year. And we have mainly 3 programs. So June course, 2 weeks. Didactic course is online and in-person course, and it is entire life cycle of the biological manufacturing. So it even includes project management, business development, and regulatory and other parts as well. So it gives a stimulation to the general personnel of the vaccine manufacturing entities and also partially national regulatory agencies. A 3 weeks course in autumn is more specific about global standards. So we include the global manufacturing practice and good clinical practice and good laboratory practice and good clinical laboratory practice and other quality measures. And we collab all together those and call it GXP, so multiple global standard. We extensively trained that for 3 weeks. And this is very unique program across the globe. There is a lot of institutes which train GXP or GMP, GCP separately, but those are very expensive and usually happens in Europe or North America. But very affordable, scholarship-related courses for the low and middle-income countries is only offered by Korea government, MOHW and IVI. And a lot of LMIC members are following our model, but I think they will also need a little bit of time to go to our level of the GXP training, because GXP is always updating every time. The global standards evolves, update, and changes, and that needs to be reflected in the training as well. And we also try to take care the alumni to be updated about ever-changing environment. The hands-on training, we are also partnered with Andong and other facilities, and we also do 3 on-site trainings per annum. So we go to specific LMIC organizations. Most of them are public related. They are vaccine manufacturing site or site that wants to establish a vaccine facility. But in LMIC, in most LMIC, those are under government usually. So everybody has different needs and different demands. So some is kind of advanced, so they ask, why don't you just come and check our quality assay, because we cannot solve it. And some of the people say that we want to establish a vaccine facility. Teach us how to establish the Greenfield initiative. So it's totally different from this end to that end. We try to analyze their situation and not just to respond to the demand, but try to suggest the best ever solution for each potential partners. So this is a little bit of deep dive of the actual demand and the reality in the low and middle income countries. So the source of this diagram is from Africa CDC, and particularly the PHAHM, which is FARM, is the Vaccine Initiative of Africa CDC, which includes establishing different vaccine manufacturing facilities across Africa and accomplish the self-sufficiency. But if you look into those, it also represents the historic bitterness or sad history of what pandemic has brought to Africa. So we only think that equity was not there during last pandemic. So I was really touched when the concept of this forum addressed that 90% of the North American people got 4 times vaccine during the pandemic, and only 10% of African population got only 1 dose. But the death rate of Africa is much low than North America. Why? Because there was no diagnostics, so they cannot identify who has died from COVID. So they don't know. No diagnostics, no therapeutics, no vaccine, and no vaccine logistics distribution, and they could not even vaccinate the children, the simple vaccine like measles, because there was no manufacturing facility, no import, export, because of the logistics lockout. a lot of tragedy has happened. So because through this kind of breakdown and sad story, they have established this thing. So it is not just how to teach, what to teach to the people who works in the manufacturing facility. It is one 360-degree ecosystem development, end-to-end, from the laboratory, R&D, epidemiology, what diseases are prevalent in that country, and the vaccine facility. It includes a lot of engineering and other things, and also vaccine process development, intellectual property, which is not easily given by the holders of the intellectual property easily. So tech transfer is a great idea, but there is a lot of history, a lot of things to solve for that. And also national regulatory agency, because Korea, the MFDS is leading agency. We don't really appreciate the existence of our national regulatory agency, but if the NRA is under grade 3, level 3, it is difficult to get the WHO pre-qualification. So those also needs to be solved, and it's a difficult matter. So those questions, will they be all solved, and how to approach, and what aspect needs to be partnered, and how can Korea be involved in those all aspects is the remaining question. And I discussed with Dr. Hun-Sang Lee before this session, and his idea of having kind of the all around the support from this chain to that chain is a great idea. I think Korea also needs to approach from that angle. So I would like to conclude with a Korea case. So I guess it was 2014 that Korea realized that vaccine self-sufficiency is not there for Korea as well. So that was initiated as a national initiative of Korea as a defense initiative. It was not health initiative, it was defense initiative. And how long it takes, and it's still ongoing, it's not completed. So it will be like that for all the countries around the globe. So can we just build model from Korea case? I think so, I believe so, and I think all of our colleagues will do our best to accomplish that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your real wonderful presentation. So, I mean, so I'm the Director General in the K-9 program, and we actually delivered the training program since 2022. So after our training program, and so a lot of trainees ask us, and what exactly Alice mentioned that, okay, how can you build, okay, I mean the Korean, okay, the vaccine manufacturing, so not only on the manufacturing as well as the logistics and something like that. So actually, Alice mentioned that, okay, 2014, it should be the MERS outbreak, right? So I think this is one of the turning points for the Korean side. Okay, we need to have our own vaccine, and so the Korean CDCs and Korean MFDS, and to try to prepare, the vaccine development, and also not only, okay, the vaccine is just like a diagnostics, and also how can we separate the patient from the normal people and something like. So those kind of experiences really real, okay, the example is kind of real role model. So maybe the LMIC should, okay, maybe interest in order maybe follow. And you already saw that, okay, the GTHB supporting foundation and organize, okay, the training programs, not only training program, and maybe tech development or collaboration as well. And the right foundation supports many technologies, which really needs in the LMICs, and also thank you for the training awards. and also the IBI, and also the offers and a lot of the training program, and as well as some other technology transfer programs. So I'd like to ask in the Hunsang and to talk about some more opinion.
I just wanted to make comments, especially regarding what Alice had said. I think I really agree that Korea is actually prime example of a vaccine sufficiency, and I think Korea can be really a great model how a country who started from developing country status, very poor, at one point gaining capacity to locally develop and manufacture the vaccines, and then increase the capacity to manufacture the vaccine, which is even includes some of the pandemic-related vaccine like influenza vaccines. And later, Korea was able to also become one of the very few countries in the world to develop COVID-19 vaccines. But also, Korea became a country of a vast capacity to manufacture vaccine in great amount, not only for the Korea, for the world as well. During the COVID-19, Samsung Biologics, SK Bioscience, Green Cross, and many companies actually manufactured, maybe not their own vaccine, but BioNTech and other vaccines in Korea for the use in Korea of those COVID-19 vaccines, but to also procure vaccine globally as well. But to go back to the vaccine sufficiency dialogue, I would like to highlight some of the 2 or 3 key moments in Korea. I think one of the great aspects of the narrative of Korea is around like 1979, when Korea was still very poor and Korea was still labeled as LMICs. Some of the Korean researchers indeed developed hepatitis B vaccines with this, leadership from Seoul National University Medical School and Green Cross. And also there had been efforts by some of the companies, some researchers from the Korea universities to develop hantavirus vaccines, which was the first hantavirus vaccine globally as well, when Korea was still very poor, or at least when Korea was just up to the status of the middle-income countries. And then fast forward, Korean vaccine manufacturing capacities slowly picked up during the 90s and early 2000s. And it was in 2008, when I was working in Korea CDC, which is now KDCA, Korea Disease Control Agencies. I worked in National Immunization Program, NIP program in Korea CDC. And I clearly remember at the time, one of the important discussion was how we can really strengthen our vaccine self-sufficiency for many of the key important vaccines. And one of the such vaccines that Korea was not able to produce was influenza vaccines. And indeed it was, because it was involving some kind of like national security policy aspect, it was very high, one of the highest priority for the governments. Because Korea saw how Asia went through the SARS outbreak in 2005. And there was at the time a lot of discussion about how we can prepare for the pandemic that can come after 100 years of 1918 Spanish flu. So at the time, everybody was very concerned about how we can prepare for potential next pandemic, which was influenza. And Korea did not have influenza vaccines. And then with the support and coordination with the WHOs and with the leadership from Korean Ministry of Health and KCDC, Korea was able to secure vaccine technology and get at that time, we were recipient of the technology. We received vaccine manufacturing capacities from other countries to Korea, and by the time of 2007, Korea was able to produce influenza vaccine in Hwasun facility of Green Cross in 2007. And what happened? When it came to 2009, when there was a global novel influenza pandemic situations, thankfully at the time globally we had vaccine and treatment antivirals, so it was actually under control. But Korea was one of the few countries which was able to use influenza vaccines that were manufactured in Korea. So I think Korea is really prime example of how one country, starting from when the country was very not so rich, tried to make so much of diverse efforts to develop vaccines, manufacture the vaccines, and reach out to get tech transfer, train those personnel, and then be able to respond to the pandemic scale infectious disease situation. And I think this kind of like story is something that we can really encourage other LMICs and other countries about how we can work together. Thank you.
Okay. So there's now time to ask some question from the floor. So if you have any questions and to today's present speakers, so please raise your hands. So any question? Okay. Alice actually mentioned that, okay, the IBI actually offered and two types of training program. The first is 2 weeks in a very introductory, the vaccinology course. And the second one is 3 weeks, the training program for good manufacturing and the good actually standard, the practice. So most of the medical product in the even vaccine and should be so you have to make sure that everything is safe and also is quite okay the effective or visible. So those kind of concept, okay, we can make the product our own house, but you cannot sell that kind of product for the medicine. So that is one of the reasons. So those kind of okay the categories in the basically regulates and the local, so usually called national regulatory agencies. And Alice mentioned that, okay, the WHO, the categorize and the level of NRA is from level 1 to level 4. And as she mentioned that in Korea, so Korea is the the level 4 country. So any of the country lower than level 3, so level 1, level 2, even they produce vaccine, they cannot distribute their own vaccine to their own people. So that is one of the reasons. So Korea should maybe support the local NRAs and promote their so-called inspection capability and ability and something like that. So everything started with understanding of so-called manufacturing, as a standard practice. So that is one of the reasons why the IBI offers and the 3 weeks program. And the GTHB supporting foundation actually offers many different types of the biotechnology platform training program. And KNIBT offers mRNA vaccine. So the most of the vaccine you actually got during the pandemic. And also OSONG and the Seoul National University Training Center and offers the therapeutic antibody manufacturing, which is quite expensive. And I'm not sure that it's really relevant for the LMIC, but this is really important in a biological product. And Andong, and they have great facility and so producing all kinds of the biologics and biopharmaceutical in GMP environment. So GMP is good manufacturing practice. And Hwasun, and also, the Hunsang mentioned that our own, the kind of landmark vaccine produced by Green Cross, and they operate manufacturing facilities in Hwasun, and also they have kind of the vaccine technology training center from MFDS. So they have the wonderful facilities and they offer the microbial technologies. So there's a many different types of the biotechnology, okay, the platform, and to be used to produce vaccine. And Korea is one of the country, I think the only country offers, okay, and there's a variety of the training program. So I'd like to, so if you have any question, okay, Professor Yan.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. And not just I listened to Professor Han and also Dr. Lee. Your testimony and your comment really made me proud of my country and the history, very unique narrative about vaccination. So I think many so-called LMIC countries or the developing countries, they are facing similar situation and context. I mean, like the previous, the Korea's situation in 1970s or 1960s. So let me ask you, what is the root cause of this kind of unique narrative or unique transformation? So what do you think? How can you say that this is the secret of this remarkable prime example? Because when I share the example or our narrative, you know, the typical response from the experts or doctors from the LMIC countries, you know, they usually list the reason why they cannot do, the lack of facilities, lack of finance. But to them, how can we say that this is our secret and this is the root cause for this remarkable transformation, or even miracle?
Okay, Punsa or Alice?
Yeah,
Okay, Punsa, please.
Okay, maybe I'll try to answer. It is not, I think, easy answers because different countries are very different and different contexts are there. But I think, but one of the takeaway from Korea's narrative is, for example, when Korea developed hepatitis B vaccines and when the Green Cross first established their own manufacturing capacities, Korea did not do it with any of the ODA. I think it was really great kind of like combination of will, interest, and efforts, starting from the governments, academia, industries, really working together. But I think it is really important to notice how it was really elevated to the country's very high level policy priorities. So I think, I mean, the politicians can say so many things, but I think always where the money is where their interest is. So I think it is really important for the countries from LMICs to think about not only to wait for development assistance, ODA funding contributions, but what the country can do with themselves, with their own resource, starting from the human capacity buildings, but at the same time to come up with their own policy and efforts. So I think one of the biggest important takeaway from the Korean example is how Korea did that even without external support. But still, I should be, I think, careful on this regards because 79 and 1980s was at the same time Korea went through the very rapid exploding economic growth. So even though Korea didn't have external ODA resource, I think Korea just became capable to internally mobilize the resource. But still, I think there should be a will from those countries, especially the political will and determinations. But at the same time, I think another aspect is also there had been I think another important aspect is the human resource, the people who were very well educated and were very rightly trained. And then if we can be met with the resource, I think that's something that we can make. So for other countries, I think that's where the training can take to the role for the human resource. Official development assistance, there are a lot of development assistance right now to support countries to make vaccine manufacturing capacities from World Bank, Asian Development Bank, African Development Banks. Even EDCF is funding about like $70 million trying to do feasibility studies to establish Kenya's vaccine manufacturing facility at the moment. But I think more of the important thing is how the country is really making a high-level policy decisions with a political will and really decide to deliver that manufacturing to happen in the countries. Thank you.
So Alice, do you want to add some more regarding on some kind of international connection?
So, I just want to echo Dr. Lee's comment that I think participating and leading the training hub among the Act 20 activities by Korea government was wise decision, because in every industry sector, Korea has some strength, and biologics and this biomanufacturing is one of them. I think that is the power of education in Korea. We are different in training people.
So I totally agree with you. So my point is strength of the basic science and also manufacturing capacities. So the pharmaceutical active ingredient manufacturing, so which is kind of chemical drug, and also kind of biotechnology manufacturing facilities is completely different. So it should be similar as the chemical engineering part. So Korea is one of the country, so which is very strong in the chemical engineering power plant and something like. It can be applicable. So we change it to so-called biological transformation. So I think national interest and also people have maybe same vision and also strength of so in Korean is hakuyol. So kind of everybody really have some kind of really strong will and to become kind of scientists or technologists and something like that. So do you have any question? Okay, go on.
Okay, thank you all the speakers. It was very enlightening speech for today. Obviously, from all your presentation, I feel like Korea is doing the best work in terms of biomanufacturing training workforce around the globe. What could be the future aspect? What would be the factors that Korea should focus continuously to make this momentum continued around the world for this good work around the world?
I think so it should be answered by Jae-ran Lee, Dr. Lee. Please. So actually she mentioned that she already present and so the presence material and what actually GTHB, the supporting foundation plan to do. So I think right now we actually hosted a lot of trainees from almost the rest of the world, and I think it's time to go out. So it's so-called trainers program, so which is a TTT, and I think IVI already doing right now. So we have to also develop kind of technology, and which is really needed in LMIC, and also we have to put together and the GTHB Supporting Foundation and IVI and the 5 network campus and integralize and all kinds of ideas, and then focusing on so kind of detailed plan to how can we help okay, in the technology, education, or so even in the training or whatever. So I think.
If I can add just one more point,
Okay. So
maybe
we
some
are
kind
of
of
quite right now.
maybe some kind of inter-ministerial coordinated efforts that goes beyond Ministry of Health, coordinating with the resource and capacity from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Finance Ministry, and maybe some kind of like whole of government efforts of Korea as a whole to take this kind of like leaderships within Korea, but also to present this as a not just Korea Ministry of Health contribution, but as a Korea's contribution to the world.
Okay, so it's time's up, and so I really don't bother your lunch time, so I have to close right now. So actually, Professor Ahn asked and to arrange this meeting, and I think so. The main slogan for GEEF 2026 is time for action. So in the aspect of the training people, okay, from LMIC and for the technology or manufacturing or whatever. So I mean the Korean government, okay, joined with some other organization, we are actually doing actions. So I'd like to conclude and today's sessions. I would really thank and all the speakers and also the participants in these sessions. So let's give the big hand for our the speakers today. Okay, thank you so much.